You ever noticed how some people seem to effortlessly attract things while others struggle no matter how hard they try? And what if the difference isn't luck, but the mental pictures that they're holding?
This is the Life Reimagined podcast. I'm Aditi Goyal, and this is your space to explore growth, healing, and living life on your own terms. Because sometimes all it takes is one conversation to shift everything.
Hello and welcome to this new episode of the Life Reimagined podcast. And today we talk about the biggest secret to hacking life and creating the reality you want. So, very recently, I was reading this self help book because that's just usually what I read, which was talking about how your thoughts create your reality and all of that. And while it was interesting, it was nothing I didn't already know. But I still kept on reading because I wanted to finish the book. But then the author said something that just really stuck with me. And it was a very simple short sentence which said, life is images of the mind expressed. I'm going to say it once more. Life is images of the mind expressed. Okay, and I was just like, oh my god, wow. I mean, I knew about this, but this perspective just shifts things a little bit, right? Which means that whatever I'm experiencing in life right now, be it good or bad, is just an expression of my mind, just an expression of the images that I have been holding in my mind, right? It was just a stop in my tracks, wow sentence, right? So the process goes like I think a thought which generates an image in my mind, and this image generated repetitively enough becomes my reality, becomes my life, right? So let's take an example. I think a thought, it's so hard to create success. Okay, I really need to work hard. This generates an image of me hustling and struggling to get what I want and working too hard and just barely getting any success. Okay. And I keep repeating this thought and this image, which creates a life where I'm struggling and hustling and working all day to barely get a little bit of success. Okay. So this means that to change my life, I need to reverse engineer the process, change my thoughts, and everything else will simply follow, right? Very simple, right? It sounds so simple, but actually it isn't. And we will see why just in a bit. But before that, I just first want you to understand this very profound idea that life outside is just serving as a mirror of what is inside. It's making my unconscious conscious. Right? It's presenting my thoughts to me through life experiences, um, through this 3D reality that I call life, so that I can choose whether I want to continue to think these thoughts and end up with the same reality or I want to choose differently. Okay, so reality is not random, it's just your mental pictures materialized. Now let's dive in a little deeper. You might have heard of this common fact that we think about 90,000 thoughts a day, and 90% of them are repetitive. And you obviously can't be consciously aware of all these thoughts. I mean, it's impossible, right? We're also living a life, so it's really hard to be consciously aware of all of them. So the whole issue is exactly that our thoughts are running unconsciously. They're running in the background without our awareness on autopilot, and more than 80% of them would probably be negative. But we unknowingly replay these mental movies that we've picked up on from society, from our childhood, or from our own experiences. Okay, so someone who grew up hearing that money is hard to earn may unknowingly picture themselves stuck in struggle and effort, and even if they are working hard, by a law that never fails, their reality is showing them just that. Right? The reality is just reflecting that right back that hey, money is not easy to earn. So, if we have picked up these mental movies from our childhood, from experiences that were probably beyond our control, and they keep running the show without our awareness, it makes sense that we first need to become aware of what these images are, right? Because, well, you can't really change a picture that you're not aware of. And this is exactly why inner child work is so powerful because so many of these mental pictures, the ones that are shaping our relationships, money patterns, our self worth, our success, all of it were formed when we were kids. And back then, we didn't have the awareness or the tools to question them. So they just became a part of our unconscious programming. But the good news is that we can definitely change these patterns. They are not permanent. We can rewrite them. And as adults, we have complete control over what we choose to believe in and what not. And we are absolutely free to create new empowering thoughts that support us, that get us to where we want to go. And if this speaks to you, and if you'd like to go deeper into this work, do check out the Healing the Inner Child course. You'll find the link below. But getting back, how do we become aware? Right? Because awareness is the first step. If I'm not aware of what I'm thinking and imagining on a daily basis because it's so unconscious, how do I actually change those pictures? So, well, one way of becoming aware of these pictures is to become very present, right? Ultra present to our thoughts, to stop them in their tracks and change them. But let's be honest, that's just very difficult because we also need to work a job, handle kids, work out, cook meals, meet friends, and live a life, right? But there is another way, a much easier one, which is patterns. Okay, so patterns are nothing but your unconscious mental movies served to you on a platter saying, hey, this is what you've been thinking time and again. Okay, so we're gonna take a couple of examples to really understand this. So let's say someone who has this pattern of constantly feeling overlooked or unheard. Okay, whether it's at work, relationships, or even in social settings. So, for example, say you're in a meeting, you share an idea, and no one seems to really notice or pay much attention. Now, 5 minutes later, someone else says something very similar, and everyone is just suddenly so happy and so excited and nodding in agreement. Right? It can get really frustrating. It's like, I just said the same thing. Am I not visible? Am I not, audible? What is it? Is my voice not important enough? Right? And if this happens once, it's okay. It's a random event, just happened. But if it keeps happening, if it's a pattern, and if you often feel like your voice goes unheard and you just feel like you're not there, people are not really noticing you, it's a clue, right? It's like life is again holding up a sign saying, hey, this is what you've been feeling and thinking and imagining deep down. Yeah. Now, um, deep down. So maybe somewhere inside there's a mental picture of yourself as someone whose opinions don't carry much weight or someone who's just not fully seen, right? And this pattern keeps showing up not to punish you but to just show you what's running in the background. Let's take another example. Now, every time you start saving some money, an unexpected expense pops up. Okay, your car breaks down, medical bill appears, or some urgent payment comes up that drains your account. Now, if this keeps happening, it's not just bad luck, right? That just keeps finding your way. It's a pattern, right? And beneath that pattern might probably be a mental picture of money doesn't stay with me, or I'm someone who keeps losing money. Or you have probably even attached yourself to a certain number that this is the amount of income I have, or this is the amount of money I have in the bank. And if it goes beyond that, it almost triggers something on a very unconscious level. So to bring it back down through an expense, right? Now the pattern is not here to frustrate you. It's not here to get you to be discouraged. But and we get so triggered, we get so annoyed as to why is this happening again and again, and why am I facing this, why am I stuck in this? But it's just here to show you the belief that's been running the show you the patterns and the mental pictures that have been running the show. So your patterns of attracting the same type of romantic partners, or hitting an income ceiling, or constantly being invalidated, or ending up in situations where you just constantly have to give without receiving. They're not punishments, and definitely not something that you're stuck with. They're simply a mirror showing you, okay, this is what needs to change. Okay, this is not working for you. This is working against you. You've got to change this. Okay, that's really what it is. And this perspective might sound so simple and so generalized, but it can create such a big shift because, again, it moves you from that victim state of why is this happening to me, or, I'm just broken, or this is just how it's going to happen, to someone who can feel a little more empowered as to, yeah, maybe it's my thoughts and images, um, and I can change them because that's definitely something that's in my control. Okay. Now, I also want to talk about the most powerful mental image. Okay. So, if there's one mental picture that shapes everything in your life, just about everything, it's how you see yourself. It's your self identity. Okay. So, your self identity is the master key. It will silently control all your decisions, all your actions, and even what you believe is possible, right? So, one example of an identity that we hold on to, and something that I also resonate with a lot, is the I am always strong. So it's believing that you're that person who always has it together, never asks for help, and takes care of everyone else. And so what happens is that even when I'm exhausted or I'm overwhelmed, it's a struggle to slow down or express my needs or ask for help. It's just not easy because my mind sees me as someone who can take care of it all. And even though it might not be the case. Okay. Another identity would be the I am invisible identity. Right? Someone who grew up feeling ignored or dismissed may unconsciously believe that they are not visible, they're not seen or heard, and they might shrink themselves in social situations, not share their opinions, avoid speaking up, or even in relationships, they might just feel unseen. Like, I'm spending time with this partner, but I don't feel like he really sees me or he really understands me, right? And this is not the reality most often than not. It's not because people are ignoring them, but it's because their mind is wired to reinforce that belief and to keep proving it right. Okay, more about that in a bit. But I want to discuss one more identity, which is the I'm always broke identity, right? And this might have happened because of a certain situation or a certain phase in life where there was a financial struggle, but that went on to become an identity where you just started seeing yourself as someone who never has enough money, and your mind will by default create situations that match that identity. So you might be undercharging for your services, you might be spending money away too quickly even when money flows in, because you want to reinforce that belief that you're always broke. And of course, all of this is completely unconscious. No one is doing this on purpose or consciously choosing to do this. It's completely unconscious. So your mind will bend reality to match your self identity, even if it's not what you consciously want. Because the brain is a lawyer, it's not a scientist. It does not take an objective approach. It does not think that, okay, I'm going to research and I'm going to come up with the facts or the truth. It's a lawyer, which means that once it's going to decide that this is the truth, and then I'm just going to spend my time finding evidence to make it true, right? Find evidence that reinforces my idea that this is true. So your mind will distort, bend, modify your perception so that your identity is proven to be correct time and again. Now, at this point, I hope I have not scared you too much. There's nothing to be scared of. This is actually a really empowering thing to know, because the good news is that you can also change this identity. And imagine having an identity that says, I'm the kind of person who naturally attracts money and opportunities, or I'm just a super lucky person, or I'm just a super confident person and I know what I'm doing most of the times. Right? Just imagine what your life would look like if you have any one of these identities. Yeah. So this is again a lot of inner work that comes in, that we do in the inner child course, reframing negative beliefs, reframing the inner critic that keeps saying, this is not gonna work, you're just like this, you're doomed to fail, whatever. And um, and reparenting yourself to provide the validation, the appreciation that you once wanted from your parents. Okay, so that is about today. But here's something that I want to leave you with to try today. Think of a pattern that's been showing up in your life. Okay, maybe around relationships, around confidence, around money, around success, and ask yourself, if this pattern was a mental picture, what would it look like? Okay, just get really clear with what this image looks like, and know that this is an image that you've been playing in your life very often, whether you know it or not. And once you've identified it, you can replace it with a new image, one that reflects what you actually want to experience. Okay, and picture it in vivid detail. Get really clear about what it is that you are thinking and imagining, and life will just start to shift automatically. So, what's one pattern that's been playing out in your life? I would love to know that. I would love to know you. So, do comment it down below, and I'll see you on the next episode where we dive deeper into the reason behind these stuck identities, which is a wounded inner child.